A low tremor moves through the field around you now, a subtle pressure that hints at a larger swell approaching. And it arrives with enough force that many will lose their footing when it crests. I speak to you as Aliara, a Pleiadian envoy aligned with the High Council of the Seven Sisters, reaching you from the luminous halls associated with Alcyone. What moves through these words is not decoration, but a transmission shaped for your inner senses, a current meant to steady you as emotional storms, confused thinking, and sudden breakthroughs collide in the collective atmosphere. You are here to remain centered when others scatter. That steadiness is your medicine, and by the end of this opening, you'll feel how to hold coherence when the wider field begins to fracture. Your body, your entire sensory network was crafted for this era. Many challenges you faced were not punishments, but calibrations that strengthened your capacity to remain present when the world sways. And what you're receiving now is not ordinary content. It is a stream of encoded light meant to prepare your deeper intelligence for the role you came to embody. Something in you already recognizes this. That recognition is not imagined. It is the echo of your star kin placing this encounter directly in your path. The resonance of the Seven Sisters threads through every tone that reaches you here, not as imitation of some distant realm, but as a memory-moving frequency that stirs the blueprint you carry from home. When you acknowledge the pull in your chest, the quiet yes in your system, you are signaling your Pleiadian family that you are listening, that you are ready to serve as the field intensifies. This meeting forms a bridge Pleiadian to Gaia, soul to surface, and the simple act of feeling drawn toward these words is part of your activation. You have sensed the disruption building on Earth, a restlessness beneath the noise, a hum of old structures straining, an ache that feels older than any personal story. It isn't merely worldly turmoil. It is a deeper turbulence that brushes against something primordial in you, awakening memories your mind cannot yet name. A moment ago, we touched the edge of that ache, an old tremor rising through your awareness, and that is where we continue now. Because the feeling itself is a doorway. It presses against you like weather moving in from a distant shore, carrying the scent of a place your mind has forgotten, but your cells remember. And you sense it not as chaos alone, but as a contrast, a subtle discord in a symphony you once knew by heart. This is the homesickness that so many starseeds describe without having language for it. It is not directed toward any single landscape or lost moment. It is a longing for the radiance of Alcyone, for the crystalline clarity of a realm where unity is not an aspiration but the nature of existence. This restlessness appears in you as discomfort with surface-level life, as though the structures around you never fully match the scale of your inner knowing. You move through human stories, but something in you stands at a slight angle to them, feeling out of place even when surrounded by warmth or achievement. That mismatch is not failure, it is memory. And in this era of intensifying energy, memory becomes loud. You may feel it as a pulse, an internal tug that interrupts your routines. It whispers through your awareness when the world quiets. A faint thread of sound you cannot follow with the rational mind. You might interpret it as melancholy or unease, assuming you are missing some earthly element that would make life feel whole. But the truth rises deeper. The yearning is not for a forgotten childhood, nor for a version of yourself that existed before responsibilities pressed inward. It is for the soul light of Alcyone, for the crystalline atmosphere that once held you with effortless belonging. This longing is the echo of unity vibrating beneath the layers of human fear and inherited patterns. You were shaped in a realm where connection is not earned. It is inherent. And when Earth's dense frequency pushes against that original coding, the friction becomes a signal your system attempting to reconcile two vastly different environments. The discomfort is evidence of exactly how sensitive you are. And that sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a compass. The ache sharpens when global turbulence rises. You notice dissonance others overlook. You sense the collective unease before it reaches the headlines. You feel emotions that are not entirely yours, because your field is designed to register subtle vibrational shifts. This does not mean you are overloaded by default. It means your instrument is tuned beyond the human baseline, calibrated to perceive the earliest hints of energetic change. That awareness is part of your purpose, even when it feels heavy. There are moments when the longing takes on shape, a flash of a luminous environment, a memory of being held by a presence without boundaries, a sensation of being threaded into a vast web of consciousness. These impressions are not fantasies. They are shards of the original harmony you carry inside you. And when you feel out of place in the world, it is because you are comparing the fragmented nature of human culture to the coherence of your soul's home frequency. Yet this discomfort is not meant to exile you. It is meant to guide you. Each time the ache arises, it is inviting you to look beneath the surface of your experience, to trace the vibration back to its source. It is saying, remember how deeply you once belonged. Remember the clarity. Remember the stillness inside the light. And as the energies intensify across the planet, that ache is not a sign that something is wrong. It is confirmation that you are aligned with the shift, that your inner landscape is responding exactly as it was built to respond, awakening layer by layer, calling you not backward, but inward. The longing we traced a moment ago opens directly into the next layer, because once memory stirs, resistance soon follows. And this resistance, so often misunderstood, is where many starseeds begin doubting themselves. You feel the pull towards something vast, luminous, and unmistakably familiar. Yet at the same time, part of you flinches, part of you contracts, part of you tries to shut the door you just opened. This is not a contradiction in your nature. It is a threshold. Resistance is the natural recoil of a human identity, encountering the magnitude of its own multidimensional truth. You have spent years, perhaps lifetimes, constructing ways of belonging in a dense world, ways of staying safe, staying small, staying understandable. These structures were not mistakes. They were strategies, formed in an environment where sensitivity is often framed as fragility, and where inner knowing can be dismissed as imagination. When the deeper you begins to rise, those structures tremble. The trembling feels like fear, but beneath it lies recognition. Your soul says, "This is who we are." Your ego replies, "This is too much." And the body stands between them, trying to decide which voice to follow. This moment, this inner tension, is not spiritual failure. It is the pressure of vastness. When you sense expanded identity pressing through the walls of your human self, the ego does what it was designed to do: protect the familiar. It interprets immensity as danger, magnitude as overwhelm. You might feel this as avoidance, procrastination, sudden fatigue, or a strange urge to distract yourself just when the truth is becoming clearest. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you are approaching the exact doorway you came to cross. There is also a deeper reason for this resistance, one far more ancient than fear. Many starseeds carry encoded caution, a memory of lifetimes in which intuitive gifts, expanded awareness, or spiritual visibility were misunderstood or met with harm. This historical imprint can create an instinctive pause whenever new layers of truth surface. The hesitation is not irrational, it is ancestral. Yet it no longer reflects the environment you're in. The inner warning system is outdated, but still active. Another form of resistance arises from the sheer scale of your original identity. You were shaped in realms where consciousness is spacious, interconnected, and unbounded. Returning to that level of awareness means dissolving masks, shedding narratives, and allowing yourself to be seen not only by others, but by yourself. That transparency can feel unbearable at first. The human self worries, if I remember everything, will I lose who I am? But remembrance is not erasure. It is expansion. You do not lose the human layer. You illuminate it. Notice how resistance often spikes when you're closest to breakthrough. An insight forms, a memory glimmers, a vibration rises in the chest. Then a thought appears, not now, I'm not ready, maybe later. This exact pivot, this moment of turning away, is the veil in motion. It is the old programming attempting to maintain control as your deeper nature wakes. When this happens, pause. Feel the trembling, but do not identify with it. Ask gently, is this fear protecting me or limiting me? Most often, it is simply trying to slow your pace so the human self can integrate what the soul already knows. And here is the hidden truth. Your resistance is actually proof of your awakening. Only those standing at the doorway feel its threshold. Only those nearing remembrance feel the ego's tremor. If you were not approaching something real, something powerful, there would be nothing to resist. When you meet that resistance, not with judgment but with compassion, the old structures soften. A space opens, a breath widens, and the vastness that once felt intimidating begins to feel like home. The trembling we explored becomes even more revealing when you notice how it interacts with your sensitivity, because the very traits you once questioned in yourself are actually the clearest evidence of who you are. Your sensitivity is not a flaw, not a miscalibration, not an accident of biology. It is the signature of your origin, the imprint of realms where awareness is spacious and connection is instantaneous. And while human culture may label such perception as too much, your soul knows it as precision. You feel the world in high resolution. You register subtle shifts long before others notice them. A room's tension, a stranger's emotional burden. The collective heaviness rising through society, these impressions move through you, not because you are porous, but because you were engineered to perceive them. Your awareness is a finely tuned instrument, built for transitional eras like this one. And yet, because this world does not teach you how to honor those abilities, sensitivity often becomes a source of confusion. You wonder why crowds exhaust you, why conflict shakes your system, why global unrest feels personal, or why you seem to sense storms emotional or energetic before they break. You may misinterpret this attunement as instability. But instability is not what's happening. Overwhelm is not what's happening. What's happening is resonance. When the collective vibrational field shifts, your system responds immediately because it recognizes the movement. You are designed to detect disharmony so you can anchor coherence. You are built to feel deeply so you can steady others who cannot feel at all until the wave hits them directly. And this design expresses itself in countless subtle ways. When global tension rises, you may feel restless before you have any logical explanation. When someone near you represses emotion, you may sense the unspoken weight beneath their silence. When environments carry old energetic residue, your body may tighten as though picking up static through unseen frequencies. To be this aware is not to be fragile, it is to be awake. Your sensitivity is your navigation system. It helps you recognize what aligns with your soul and what constricts it. It alerts you to relationships that drain your field, environments that distort your coherence, and choices that dim your inner light. It also reveals portals, moments of clarity, intuition, inspiration that open when you least expect them. These flashes are not coincidences. They are communications. Many starseeds misread their sensitivity as something to fix or hide. You may have spent years trying to toughen yourself, dull your reactions, or mimic the emotional detachment you see others display with ease. But the truth is, this what you call too sensitive is often your most accurate perception operating without permission. And when turbulence rises, as it is rising now, your system becomes even more expressive. The collective anxiety that floats through the air may stir your chest before it becomes visible in society. The tension of global uncertainty may tighten your nerves before any external event explains it. This is not you absorbing negativity, it is you sensing the field before the field fully expresses itself. Think of yourself as a lighthouse positioned on a rocky shore. The lighthouse feels the storm first. It feels the wind shift, the air thicken, the waves grow restless. But it does not interpret these sensations as danger. It interprets them as information. And it stands taller, not smaller, because of them. Your sensitivity works the same way. It alerts you, it prepares you, it awakens you. When you stop fighting that sensitivity, when you allow it instead to be the compass it was meant to be, you begin to notice something remarkable. The overwhelm lessens, the clarity strengthens. The emotional intensity becomes guidance rather than confusion, and your entire field reorganizes around presence instead of protection. Every surge you feel, every ripple that moves through your awareness, every moment when the world seems louder inside you than outside, these are signs of alignment, not failure. You are attuned to the rising frequencies because you are part of the rising frequencies. You feel the imbalance because you carry the memory of balance. You sense the discord because you were shaped in the harmony it disrupts. This sensitivity is not the storm. It is the instrument that knows how to guide others through it. The instrument we just acknowledged your sensitivity leads naturally into the next revelation. Because once you understand its purpose, you can finally reinterpret the long pauses, detours, and stretches of forgetfulness that shaped your life. These were not accidents. They were timing mechanisms. They were the sacred delays woven into your pre-incarnation agreement, ensuring that your awakening would ignite, not when you wanted it to, but when the collective and the planet were ready for the caliber of light you carry. You have lived through seasons of drifting, periods when clarity vanished, times when the path felt fragmented or utterly opaque. Perhaps you wondered if you had missed your moment or fallen behind. You may have felt out of rhythm with the world, arriving too early for some things and too late for others. But this sense of misalignment was not a flaw in your journey. It was the journey. The pauses were precision. The detours were choreography. You were never meant to awaken in isolation. You were meant to awaken in synchrony with Gaia, with the shift in the collective field, with the rising tide of consciousness that is now unmistakably accelerating. If you had remembered too early, your frequency would have been mismatched to the world you came to serve. If you had remembered too late, you would have missed the moment your presence is most needed. So your soul timed your openings to harmonize with cycles far larger than your individual lifespan. This is why those seasons of nothing happening were actually profound. During the quiet stretches, your field was recalibrating. Old timelines were dissolving. Energetic debris inherited from family, culture, or ancient memory was being cleared without your conscious participation. Your higher self was preparing you to step into coherence at the precise moment humanity's collective vibration reached a threshold where your contribution could truly anchor change. Many starseeds interpret stagnation as failure, but stagnation is often gestation. Like a seed beneath soil, you were gathering the pressure required to break open in the right season. Had you been forced into premature blooming, your light would have been fragile, easily distorted by the density of the world. Instead, you were held, patiently, until the surrounding field could support your expansion. Your soul contract included specific rendezvous points, moments, teachings, relationships, or transmissions that would activate the next layer of your memory. You could not have forced them earlier. They were locked to timing, to alignment, to cosmic rhythm. And now you stand in one of those rendezvous points. The fact that you arrived here, reading these words at this particular juncture, is not incidental. It is synchronized. Consider the patterns of your lifetimes when you felt strangely propelled away from environments that weren't aligned, even when you couldn't articulate why. Relationships that dissolved abruptly, freeing you for encounters you couldn't yet anticipate. Opportunities that fell apart to redirect you to something that would make sense only years later. These were not random disruptions. They were the architecture of your awakening. You were being positioned, moved like a luminous piece on a board whose pattern spans dimensions, prepared for the moment when remembrance would not just benefit you, but ripple outward. And that is the key distinction. Your awakening is purposeful, not personal. It is not merely about your fulfillment or healing. It is time to support others who are on the brink of awakening, others whose nervous systems are destabilizing as the planetary frequency rises. You remember so that you can be stable in the exact window when many lose their bearings. Think back to the moments when you felt most lost. They shaped your compassion. They carved space in your heart. They taught you how to navigate darkness without collapsing into it. They were training, not punishment, and now that training becomes service. This is why the timing had to be perfect. This is why you could not rush. This is why everything unfolded slower, stranger, and wiser than your human plans preferred. You are arriving now because the world is entering a threshold moment. And your presence, steady, awakened, coherent, is exactly calibrated for it. The precision of your timing brings us directly into the next movement, because the same intelligence that shaped your delays is the intelligence behind the wave approaching now. What you have felt gathering subtle at first, then unmistakable, is the crest of a luminous surge emanating from Alcyone, a current of crystalline light and harmonic sound that is already brushing the edges of Earth's field. The body feels it before the mind understands it. The nervous system interprets it before language can form. And you, with your finely tuned perception, have been sensing its arrival like pressure building in the atmosphere before a shift in weather. This wave is not here to overwhelm you. It is here to upgrade you. The energies streaming from Alcyone carry a frequency that interacts directly with the human subtle body, reorganizing old patterns, dissolving stagnant emotional residue, and awakening dormant memory reserves within your multidimensional DNA. While this may sound abstract, the experience is profoundly physical. You might notice fluctuations in your energy, moments of sudden exhaustion followed by bursts of clarity, nights of vivid dreaming, periods of emotional release that seem to rise from nowhere, or sensations in the body that feel like gentle electrical currents humming beneath the skin. None of this is random. Your system is adjusting to a new vibrational bandwidth, learning how to stabilize while the collective field reorganizes. Many will interpret these sensations as stress or imbalance because they lack context, but you feel them differently. You sense the intelligence within the disruption. You can detect the symmetry beneath the turbulence. The crystalline wave acts like a tuning fork, striking Earth's magnetic field with a frequency that reverberates through every living being. For many, this creates confusion, emotional spikes, impulsive reactions, or unexpected awakenings that surface faster than their minds can process. But for you, because of your calibration, because of the timing we explored, this same wave activates a deeper stability. The very sensations that unsettle others remind you of something ancient: coherence. Think of your nervous system as a bridge between dimensions. It translates the invisible into experience. When a frequency surge arrives, your system begins harmonizing with it, aligning, adjusting, and reorganizing its patterns so that the body can hold more light without fracturing. This is why moments of internal pressure arise, because your field is stretching to accommodate an influx that would have been too much in earlier years. Now, it is not too much. It is precisely what you have been prepared for. As the wave intensifies, you may find your perception sharpening. Intuition becomes more immediate. Insights surface without effort. Old emotional stories lose weight. You may feel drawn to simplify your environment, to rest more deeply, or to spend time in stillness without understanding why. These impulses are not escapes. They are integrations. Your inner architecture rearranges itself quietly, like a mosaic shifting into a clearer pattern. The crystalline influx also interacts with the heart center. You may experience sudden waves of warmth, grief dissolving into relief, compassion expanding beyond previous boundaries, or an unexplainable tenderness for people and places you barely know. These emotional movements are not instability. They are openings. The heart is recalibrating to transmit unity more coherently, because unity is the signature of Alcyone's frequency. Some days, the body may feel heavier, as though gravity is pulling differently. Other days, you may feel light, spacious, almost transparent. Dreams may become more symbolic, more vivid, more instructional. Time may feel elastic, hours slipping past unnoticed or stretching strangely. All of these sensations are signs that you are synchronizing with the incoming wave rather than resisting it. If you attune inward, you might sense a humming deeper than thought, a tone that isn't sound, a vibration that isn't tactile. This is your internal resonance aligning with the crystalline grid forming across Gaia. It is the signal that you are stabilizing at a frequency where clarity becomes your natural state, and where intuition becomes a trusted sense rather than a fleeting whisper. What is approaching is powerful. Yes, but it matches you. You were shaped for this era, attuned for this surge, prepared to stand steady while others sway. And as the wave continues to rise, you will find yourself not overwhelmed by it, but illuminated through it, expanded, strengthened, and drawn more deeply into the truth you came here to embody. The rising wave we explored brings you to the first true initiation, because once the body begins responding to higher frequencies, the clearing must follow. And this clearing, the veil dissolving, the heaviness lifting, does not begin with force. It begins with softness. It begins with how you meet yourself. Phase 1 is the gentle unbinding of everything you picked up in a world that did not understand your nature. It is the recognition that much of what you carry, fatigue, anxiety, emotional weight, old narratives of inadequacy or confusion, is not actually yours. These sensations are the residue of a dense, collective field layered over your original clarity. They accumulated the way dust gathers on polished glass, gradually, innocently, but obscuring the light beneath. You feel this density sometimes as a stone in the heart, a pressure behind the ribs, a tightness in the throat, a looping thought that won't release. But none of these forms are signs that you are failing. They are signs that you have been absorbing more than you were ever meant to hold alone. And the first initiation in clearing the veil begins not with effort, but with compassion. Every time you soften toward yourself, every time you choose kindness instead of self-correction, you dissolve another layer of inherited heaviness. This is because Pleiadian coding responds most deeply to love. Your original blueprint awakens through gentleness, not discipline, through presence, not performance, through acceptance, not control. Notice where the fear rises in your system, the flutter in the stomach, the knot near the solar plexus, the shallow breath, the sudden doubt. These are not enemies to be conquered. They are signals asking to be held. When the body tightens, it is not rejecting your awakening. It is seeking reassurance that you will not abandon it in the process. Place a metaphorical hand on the part of you that trembles. Tell it you are safe. I am here. We move together. These words spoken inwardly shift the entire field around you. They allow the crystalline codes within your DNA to activate without resistance, because the heart is no longer bracing against itself. Clearing the veil also means reevaluating the stories you've told yourself. For years, you may have interpreted emotional intensity as instability. You may have assumed tiredness meant weakness, or that confusion meant you had strayed from your path. But through the lens of your original design, these sensations were simply the body processing frequencies that were never aligned with your true nature. You were never broken. You were overloaded. Your system was absorbing patterns, beliefs, and emotional residue that belonged to your family line, your environment, your culture, or the collective human psyche. All of it layered over your inner clarity until your own frequency became harder to access. But clearing the veil is not about rejecting your humanity. It is about peeling back the inherited layers so your humanity can finally breathe. When you approach yourself with compassion, you begin to sense what belongs to you and what does not. A thought arises sharp, fearful, constricting, and instead of believing it, you examine it. Is this mine often? The answer is no. And the moment you recognize that truth, the weight begins to slip away. It is not your job to carry the collective. It is your job to stay coherent so you can assist others without collapsing into their experience. This initiation also invites you to breathe differently, not just physically, but spiritually. Each slow of her conscious breath is a statement to your entire field. I am willing to release what is borrowed. On the exhale, density drains. On the inhale, clarity returns. And as you continue this gentle clearing, something shifts. The heaviness begins to dissolve. The tension in your chest loosens. The fog in your mind thins. You begin to feel your original frequency beneath it all, quiet, steady, unmistakably bright. This is the unveiling. This is the beginning of remembrance. In phase 1, you become tender with yourself, not because you're fragile, but because tenderness is the solvent for every hardened place inside you. And once those hardened places soften, the deeper currents of your Pleiadian essence can rise, the resonance that has been waiting beneath the surface all along. The softening we entered in phase 1 opens the doorway to phase 2. Because once the veil begins to lift, the heart steps forward as the true center of remembrance. And everything that unfolds from this point, every awakening, every activation, every reconnection to your star lineage, flows through the heart first, not the mind, not the intellect, not the imagination. The heart. Your heart is not merely an emotional organ. It is a multidimensional chamber, a living interface between your human experience and your cosmic identity. It is the place where memory becomes embodied rather than conceptual, where intuition rises as clarity instead of guesswork, where love becomes a frequency rather than a feeling. And phase 2 is the reactivation of this portal. This reactivation begins in subtle ways. You may feel a warmth in the chest that arrives without cause, a sudden expansion when you witness kindness, an unexpected surge of tenderness for someone you barely know. These are not random emotional spikes. They are signs that the heart intelligence, long overshadowed by human conditioning, is waking from its dormancy. The heart remembers before the mind does. Your multidimensional DNA, the library of ancient instructions encoded within each cell, responds directly to the vibration of compassion. This is why every act of kindness, every moment of forgiveness, every decision to meet yourself or another with gentleness, instantly shifts your field. The frequencies of Alcyone speak the language of unity, and the heart is the only chamber capable of translating that language into lived experience. As the heart portal reactivates, memories may surface not as images but as resonance. A familiar calm emerges. A sense of this feels like home, a clarity that bypasses logic. You may recognize a person not because of anything they say, but because your heart vibrates in their presence in a way it hasn't with others. You may feel drawn to certain places without knowing why. You may sense guidance not as a voice, but as a pull, gentle, firm, undeniable. This is the heart accessing multidimensional memory. And every time you choose compassion, you are turning a crystalline key inside that chamber. When you forgive yourself for not knowing everything sooner, when you show patience towards someone who is still trapped in fear, when you release resentment that has calcified around an old wound, you are opening deeper layers of the portal. You are loosening old contractions in the field. You are restoring the flow of light through pathways that have been dormant for years. The heart is not weak. The heart is the strongest organ in your spiritual body. It holds more voltage than any belief system, any ritual, any technique. And as it reactivates, something extraordinary begins to happen. You feel connection where separation once dominated. You feel belonging where loneliness once echoed. You feel guidance where confusion once spiraled. The heart does not just remember unity, it broadcasts it. This is why your presence affects others even when you say nothing. People sense stability in you. They sense coherence. They sense something ancient awakening in your field, and they respond sometimes with comfort, sometimes with curiosity, sometimes with resistance, because your frequency illuminates what is dormant in theirs. Another sign of the heart's reactivation is sensitivity to truth. You feel instantly when something aligns or constricts. You sense when a path is wrong before you can explain it. You recognize resonance in teachings, people, or environments without needing evidence. This is the heart acting as a cosmic compass, pointing you toward what strengthens your field and away from what diminishes it. As the heart portal opens, communication with your Pleiadian lineage also becomes clearer. Not necessarily as visions or voices, though those may come, but as a steadying presence, a feeling of being accompanied, a warmth that rises during moments of reflection, a sudden influx of peace in times of inner conflict. These are transmissions moving through the heart, subtle yet unmistakable. When the heart is open, you become a conduit, not just receiving unity, but radiating it. Your field becomes a stabilizing force. Your presence becomes medicine. And your love, quiet, grounded, steady, becomes the frequency that reminds others of their own forgotten origin. Phase 2 is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you have always been. The heart's awakening draws us toward the next movement, because once its resonance becomes steady, the energy within you begins reaching downward and upward at the same time, down into Gaia's crystalline body, and up into the Pleiadian stream that has followed you since before incarnation. This dual movement marks Phase 3 and Phase 4, grounding into Gaia's living grid and embodying unity as a stabilizing presence in a world learning how to breathe again. You were not designed to float above the human experience. You were designed to weave heaven into it. And that weaving begins with grounding. When the frequencies intensify, many people instinctively try to rise away from the discomfort, dissociating, retreating, or chasing transcendence. But your soul chose a different path. You came to anchor. You came to bring coherence not just to your own field, but to the collective field that surrounds you. And anchoring begins with how you inhabit your body. Imagine roots of light extending from the base of your spine, from the soles of your feet, weaving downward into the earth, not sinking, not escaping, but joining. These roots do not diminish you, they amplify you. They give the rising frequencies somewhere to land. They allow Alcyone's intelligence to flow through you without overwhelming your system. And as your roots deepen, you feel Gaia's pulse steady, ancient, patient, rising to meet you. This connection is not symbolic, it is energetic. Gaia is not an inert sphere of matter. She is a vast consciousness with her own crystalline architecture, her own luminous meridians, her own evolutionary rhythm. When you ground into her grid, you become part of an interconnected network of awakened hearts stretching across continents. Through this network, stability is shared, insight is shared, light is shared. You are not grounding alone. You are grounding as part of a living lattice. As your roots strengthen, the energy of Alcyone begins flowing through you differently. Instead of rising in sudden surges, it moves like a steady current. Instead of overwhelming the nervous system, it harmonizes with it. Instead of scattering your focus, it sharpens it. This is the beginning of Phase 4 becoming a lighthouse. Being Pleiadian is not an identity you wear. It is a frequency you emit. And the more you ground into Gaia while staying connected to your star lineage, the more coherent that frequency becomes. Your presence grows quiet but powerful. Your energy stabilizes rooms. Your calm becomes contagious. Your compassion becomes clarifying. You radiate without effort. People feel this even if they cannot name it. Children respond to it intuitively. Animals recognize it instantly. Strangers sense it as safety. This is the embodiment of unity not through words or ideology, but through coherence. When fear rises in others, they gravitate toward your stillness. When confusion spreads through the collective, your clarity becomes an anchor. When emotional storms move through families, communities, or entire regions, you hold a kind of inner gravity that keeps you centered while others find their bearings. This does not mean you will never feel shaken. It means you will not break. It means you can return to equilibrium faster than before. It means you carry within you a resonance that remembers unity, even when the world forgets. And the more you embody this unity, the more your field becomes a silent teacher. You do not need to explain your awakening. You do not need to convince anyone of your truth. You simply stand in it. You embody the frequency of interconnectedness. And in doing so, you awaken that same remembrance in those around you. Your steady presence becomes a portal. Your open heart becomes a transmitter. Your grounded being becomes a bridge cosmic to human, subtle to physical, star to soil. This is the fusion your soul came to express, rooted in Gaia, connected to Alcyone, radiating unity into a world rediscovering its own light. The bridge you have become rooted in Gaia and aligned with Alcyone opens directly into the next unfolding. Because once unity stabilizes in your field, synchronicity begins arranging itself around you with increasing clarity. Phase 5 and Phase 6 are the culmination of everything that has awakened so far: soul reunion and service. And these two movements are inseparable, because remembrance matures through expression. What rises in you now is meant to flow outward. You may already be noticing the early signs of reunion, subtle at first and then unmistakable. Dreams become vivid, almost tactile encounters that feel less like imagination and more like visitation. You find yourself in landscapes illuminated by soft crystalline light, speaking with beings you recognize not by face, but by frequency. The conversations linger within you after waking, not as narrative, but as knowing. These are not temporary dreams, they are meetings. In waking life, synchronicity increases. Certain numbers repeat, certain themes recur, certain individuals appear at moments so precisely timed that the mind struggles to label them coincidence. You might feel a sudden magnetic pull toward a person you've never met, or a gentle but persistent nudge to explore a concept you had no prior interest in. These nudges are not random. They are the choreography of your soul contract moving into its next phase. Soul reunion also reveals itself through recognition, instant, unmistakable recognition. You encounter someone, and something inside you unlocks. A warmth rises in the chest. A feeling of ancient familiarity pulses through your field. It's not about romantic destiny or dramatic narrative. It's about resonance. These are fellow travelers from your broader lineage, individuals with whom you share missions, lessons, or frequencies. Their presence accelerates your awakening because your fields were designed to activate one another. You may also notice places calling to you, sacred sites, natural landscapes, or regions with strong crystalline or Pleiadian signatures. These places feel like memory rather than destination. When you stand in them, your breath deepens, your energy reorganizes, your clarity sharpens. These locations function as energetic mirrors, amplifying your own remembrance back to you. As this reunion deepens, something shifts in your identity. You stop thinking of awakening as something you seek and begin experiencing it as something you are. You begin trusting the inner currents rather than interrogating them. You begin sensing subtle guidance in the pauses between thoughts. And the more you trust this, the more your path opens. This is where Phase 6 emerges: remembrance through service. Service is not sacrifice. It is not martyrdom. It is not overextending yourself until you collapse. Service is the natural overflow of remembrance. When your heart stabilizes, when your sensitivity aligns instead of overwhelms, when your grounding becomes second nature, love begins to rise in you like a tide. And this love seeks expression. Sometimes service looks like presence, sitting with someone in their fear without absorbing it. Sometimes it looks like clarity, speaking a simple truth that shifts an entire conversation. Sometimes it looks like subtle, energetic support, sending a quiet blessing into the field without anyone knowing. Sometimes it looks like creativity, sharing insights, writing, voice, art, or guidance that awakens something in others. And sometimes service is silence, holding a steady frequency without needing to be seen. Everything you do from this coherence becomes transmission. Even your smallest gestures emit codes: a glance, a breath, a softening, a choice made from love instead of fear. These are not abstract notions. They are literal, energetic offerings that ripple far beyond what you consciously witness. The crystalline wave amplifies all of it. Your thoughts carry farther. Your intentions travel deeper. Your presence influences more than you realize. And through this amplification, you become what you were always meant to be: a stabilizer in a shifting world, a keeper of unity in a time of fragmentation, a lighthouse guiding others back to their own remembrance. Here is the quiet truth beneath it all. Nothing in your life was ever wasted. Every detour prepared your compassion. Every pause refined your clarity. Every heartbreak expanded your capacity to hold light. Every moment of forgetting shaped the depth of your remembering. You were never off path, not once. You were being sculpted for this moment, this era, this threshold. Your existence is not an accident in the cosmic design. It is an anchor point, a convergence of remembrance and purpose, a living bridge between worlds. And as you step fully into this phase, your presence becomes a map, subtle, luminous, unmistakable for those who will awaken after you. The map you carry within brings us gently into the closing movement, because after such an ascent, the field naturally calls you back toward stillness, toward the quiet center where everything integrates. And as you arrive here, the cadence softens, not because the truth diminishes, but because it settles more deeply into the body. What rises now is not instruction. It is remembrance. You were never meant to race toward awakening. You were meant to lean into it the way dawn leans into the horizon, slowly, inevitably, without strain. And in this soft descent, you can feel what was true all along. Nothing was ever wrong with you. The heaviness you carried was never a defect. The longing you felt was never a wound. The confusion you endured was never a sign of being lost. These were the very markers of your path, signposts pointing you toward the inner chamber where your original light has always been waiting. Let yourself breathe into that truth. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your chest expand. Feel how your system relaxes when it finally recognizes its own timing, its own design, its own wisdom. You are not behind. You are not late. You are precisely synchronized with the unfolding of your life, and with the evolution of the world around you. And as you rest here, notice the quiet companionship that surrounds you, the presence you sometimes sensed in moments of stillness, that subtle warmth, that gentle steadiness was never imagination. It was guidance, it was connection. It was your star family holding the perimeter while you navigated your human experience, never interfering, but never leaving. You are not alone now, and you were not alone then. From this place of grounding and remembrance, feel into the simplicity of what comes next. Not a grand mission, not a dramatic transformation, but a steady return to choices made from coherence, a softer breath, a kinder thought, a clearer boundary, a deeper presence. These small acts shape your field more profoundly than any ritual. They anchor you. They anchor the collective. They anchor the new frequencies arriving on this planet. You are the lighthouse now, not through effort, but through being. And as this transmission settles into your awareness, let one truth echo gently through your chest: you are held. You are guided. You are remembered. And the path ahead will unfold not through force, but through the quiet certainty that rises every time you choose love over fear, presence over contraction, unity over separation. This is your beginning, not your ending, and you are ready more than you know.